Hey guys, UC here from iTradePrice. Well, it is about 11:30 Saturday night. Kids are asleep, and I'm here reviewing the charts with you, right? Good Saturday night for me. When kids go to bed, that's the best time to look at the charts because then, you don't have any noise. You can just focus on the charts and the price action, right? So here's the weekly chart of QQQ. Still continuing with our direction on of lower lows, lower highs, weekly chart. Past 7 weeks of lower lows, lower highs, still continuing with that momentum to the downside, right? Every bar we see closes below the previous week low, right? But we have I think for the majority of the week we had an overlap with the previous week. So the direction, yes, it is still down, but the momentum, I would say, has somewhat gone slow a little bit, right? I mean, it hasn't really broken down the way it had been doing in the previous few weeks, right? So if I go to the daily view, we have this bottom wick on the daily chart, right? And the closure was pretty close to where we closed on Thursday, right? I mean, we did see this big short covering rally towards the end. We'll see if it materializes on the upside to take it back up towards the higher range of its previous week. But still overall right now, the direction remains down overall, right? With 309.5 as this area being the sort of the higher level resistance for bulls to break out of, because that was the support, and now it's will probably act as resistance on the way up once and if we get there anytime soon, right? But right now, if I zoom out a little bit, we are still in a downtrend, right? Let me clear this thing. 1 second. Okay, yeah. So we're still in a downtrend. Here's the channel. You can see, and if I go into, let's say, a 4-hourly view, see, here's your short covering rally. We did manage to bounce back from the, like, if I show you a little view, right? So this is the channel, right? This was the channel. So there is a channel, right? So we are seeing some bounces from there, right? But nothing materializes. When I say materializes, means like nothing. We don't see a follow through to move to get above this purple downtrend line, right? So the pressure remains to the downside until or unless we can decisively close above that. But that doesn't mean you cannot play bounces. You can. However, we have been mostly bearish and have been looking to play rejections mostly, right? Those just pay quicker, right? So let's go to Tesla, right? That's one of our favorite names to trade. Let's look at a monthly chart just for sort of a quick view of what it looks like. So on the monthly level, you'd see the bigger support is around 542 level, right? That's where we have these multiple touch points, right? And for the first time, we did manage to close below this sort of little uptrend line that was in place. So we did close below that. And now one of the levels to watch in the downside before a further breakdown occurs is 620, right? That's the monthly chart, right? We still have about a week and a half left in the monthly chart. So we'll see if it wants to go towards 542. But on a weekly view, here's the weekly view, still in a downtrend, no upside follow through, top wicks, blah, 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 all that stuff. But we do have a little bit of overlap here, right, in the previous week, but a closure below the low of previous week. So still technically in a downtrend, right? Here's a daily view. This was the Friday breakdown. We did manage to bounce back up, but again, still weak. Nothing really exciting for bulls unless or until we can see some pattern to show up in a lower time frame, right? Here's the 4-hourly view. Big bearish trend bar that broke it down below 689. 690 was the level it was holding on Thursday. But once it broke down below that, it just kind of kept on going. And we did see a little bit of bounce from 633, low of Friday. But nothing nothing too convincing for the bulls. We'll see how futures act, and then but overall remains bearish as long as we're below 690 for right now. And of course you can have other plays throughout the day, but for right now on a higher time frame, it remains weak, right? Amazon, let's go for a monthly view. Longer term, this is where we are. I mean, this for a longer term investor, we are at a good point for someone to, add some shares. Yes, it can still go down, but you don't really care because you're playing the long term view. Like for example, let's say we were right here, right? This is exactly what happened back in what was this time frame back in 2018, right? We saw a move up to 2074 and then all the way down to 1300. That's almost 35% of the move down. And for a long-term investor, that's where you kind of add, right? When you get that kind of a move to the downside, and again, that's what we are seeing. But again, I'm just talking from a long-term perspective, right? We still have a month to close, but the monthly bar touch points are close to 1900. We'll see if it wants to go there or not. And a weekly view, still technically broken. Maybe this can be a bear flag kind of a pattern, right? We did see a hammer bar previous week, but then this last week we really did not see any upside follow through. So that tells me still weak price action, still bears in control, strength gets sold. So nothing like that. Here's the daily view, and if you were to make some sort of a bear flag out of this, the upper range of the bear flag is something around 2300, 2316. Again, it can go there and then fall back down or something like that. We'll just kind of take it day by day, but this is what for right now it looks like. Again, no bullish structure sees any upside follow through, right? And then they just see it as a way to sell the strength whenever that thing occurs. Apple is something I always keep an eye on. It just gives me clues. Until or unless Apple can turn around, market definitely is not going to go up, right? This is the sort of the darling stock of Wall Street, right? So we did see a little bit of bounce from 132, 135 area, but still close. Weekly chart looks weak. Again, if you want to play on the bullish side, for a swing side, you would want to see some sort of buying like this, some sort of bullish follow through to bullish weeks, things like that. Otherwise, it's hard to catch the bottom. If somebody was trying to catch the bottom here, you got a top wick and then it just absolutely fell through this downtrend line. So don't try to catch a falling knife. Again, there's plenty of other ways to play the swing trades, but that's not happening right now. Daily view, bottom wick, that's fine. A closure actually above the previous day's close, right? Slightly above, nothing too exciting, but still, it is technically speaking a better close, right? So the level to watch on the upside, if I bring the other levels, the ones that I look at, yeah, I'd say 141.7. That's my level to see. Has to get above that for me to start feeling a little bit bullish. When I say bullish, not crazy bullish, just enough to play a little bit of upside towards this trend line, and then we'll see if it can take move towards 150. That's where the major breakdown occurred, right? So once it gets above 141.7, that's also a downtrend line. If it can get above that, we can play some bullish moves, right? But here's a mini channel that it closed right underneath that. So if Monday it's above 138.1, sure, we are in some sort of a nice bounce zone, but we'll have to be just cautious that as long as it's below 141.7, it remains a little bit on the weaker side. Square, I am just thinking, looking at this chart, here's the weekly view, right? It's an inside week, so compared to rest of the market, it kind of contained, right? 78.8, that was our level all this week long. If I go into the daily time frame, you can see we have multiple touch points right there on 78.8, and it, even with this market so much down, it was not breaking down below that level. So that is a big level to consider as your support zone. As long as we're above that, it's cautiously neutral to somewhat bullish, right? And then A94 is that level that it needs to get above. I would again look for a lower time frame price to get above 85, 86, and that can be a sort of a good level to consider to play on the upside, right? Here's how it looks. If I bring the other extended hours back, you know, nice channel to the downside, clear levels. This 94 is sort of the breakdown area that it started going down from, and now we have been looking at this 85.2 area. I think, yeah, that was it. That we wanted to kind of see bullish move above that, right? Of course, with the market down, we really couldn't see that, but nonetheless, still, I'd say a comparatively, relatively better looking chart to play on the upside. If market bounces hard, rallies hard from here a little bit, this can definitely break through this downtrend line, take out 94 and towards 110, right? But can be a good chart. But if it breaks down below 78.8, again, that is a support level it held this week. So if it takes that out, definitely a bearish chart. NVDA earnings coming up next week, looks like. What is that date? 5/25. So yeah, next week we have earnings that can keep it somewhat elevated. Again, premiums will be inflated because of the volatility, and the earnings kind of increases the volatility, which inflates the price artificially for options. So even if the price moves, options don't move that much, but so you can always trade shares. 183.6 is the sort of the double top, right? Previous 2 weeks we have two tops right here, and then above that we have double top right here around 204. So you have about $20 target if it breaks out above 184, 185. Let's go into the daily view to check out what the price structure looks like. So yeah, it gets rejected from that 184 level, right, which was support previously, right? As you can see, we have all the structure above this and then all the structure below it, right? So 184, 185 is the level, and that will also mean you're above the downtrend line, above the resistance in the past 2 weeks. The way we get these bottom wicks towards anytime it goes under 165, we see these bottom wicks, right? So buyers step up. That is good, but now really need to get above this downtrend line. 182 was sort of the resistance area, and now if it can get above that, sure, we'll see what happens. But earnings can always make this thing tricky. Okay, let's look at a couple of more. SPY. Weekly view. Again, rest of the market downtrend, short, technically top wicks. We had a bottom wick right here, no follow through, got sold off. From the looks of it, most of it was on, it was an overlapping channel bottom right here. So 408, 409 is your level on the upside to consider a breakout above. And in the daily view, I'm sure, yeah, it looks nice because at least nice in this in a way that it is holding this 388 level, right? Every time it gets there, it gets up, it gets up, it gets up right there, and the closure is above that. Yes, it goes down, but it closes above that level. So this channel line on a higher time frame providing some support right now, right? If it breaks down this area, yes, we can target the lower end of this bottom channel right here. But if it can take back above that, take this downtrend line, we can target the 409 area as the move to the upside. And then of course we'll have to monitor to see what happens next. In an hourly view, you can see how this level has provided support in the recent history, right? We have right here, oops, where's my tool, sorry, right, okay, right there, it was support, then it became resistance, and then it became resistance, and now it really needs to get above that. But if it can get above this downtrend line right here, that can be an indication it is getting somewhat strong, so that would be nice. But you can see every time it gets below 388, it gets buyers and it bounces back up. But definitely this last half an hour rally on Friday was a short covering rally, right? Because the market was just so sold off, it wanted to bounce from that area at that time. Microsoft, let's look at weekly view. again, nothing surprising. Just with the rest of the market, it was weak. 270 is the sort of the pivot, right? We have bounced from that area so many times, and then last week we had these top wicks. Sorry, last few weeks we had these top wicks, which meant this 293 area was providing resistance, and then we broke down, and now 246 is the support and also some of sort of a channel bottom, right? We'll see what happens next week. If it goes down and then takes out back above 246, that's a bullish sign, right? We can definitely have a nice bounce, but it has to play like that, where you see the weakness initially and then it cuts back up above the opening price of the week to make it a sort of a green, red to green move, right? That's something that you need to look at. Daily view, from pattern perspective, nothing really too exciting, but in the past 3 days, all I can see or observe is that it's really holding this area 252, right? I mean, it goes below that, but then it gets brought back up and closes right in this area. So as long as we're above that area, it can be cautiously long to see, or if it's below that area, definitely it's bearish, right? So we'll see how it plays out earlier in the week to consider. But overall, 270, 246, those are nice key levels to kind of keep in your mind for this one, right? This name. So Tesla, let's take a look at Tesla a little bit more in a lower time frame. I know a lot of people trade that, and I trade that personally a lot as well. We have been short on this name. It gave good profits last few weeks. Still holding the June 3rd debit spread, which is already up nicely, but maybe a little bit more flush, and it can easily give a little bit more, right? But you can see just the price structure here in daily view, right? Any bullish day, we don't see any upside follow through to that day, right? This one, bullish days, but every time it opens back up, it gets sold off. It never went up above this price. It never went above this price, bullish days. So still the dominating trend is towards the downside. If you want to play on the upside, that's fine, but just, I would say as long as the trend does not change, the better quality trades are on the downside, right? Once the downside, the put plays, the short side is not playing out, you're getting stopped out more often, that is an indication, yes, that the downside is kind of slowing down, right? We always try to look for pullbacks to enter the trade. So that's a sign that if the pullback entries on the short side are not working, that means that the market is getting somewhat stronger. So we will switch at that time. But of course, price will let us know when that happens, right? So don't have to guess that. Here's all the levels. Let's go to maybe a 15-minute view, right? We have the extended hours open. So try to look for these clues in the market in the intraday, right? We get these nice bearish looking patterns, right? Bear flags, like for example this one intraday, Friday morning around 10 o'clock. Look at this. It broke that 690 was the key level that day. Once it broke down below that, look at this. It's on the 5-minute chart. The upside is not seeing any follow through. The first big breakout in 5-minute we saw, like this was this little triangle, right? This was the triangle kind of a, oh god, okay, let me pick the other view. Auto, there you go. Okay, so like in a 5-minute view, right, we had this price getting tight, it broke out, immediately saw a rejection, right? So that's your tell that the price is weak. Nobody wants to buy it on the strong move. People want to sell it on strength, right? So that's your clue. The dominant trend is down for the day, so you short it towards the high end, and it just keeps going down. Here's another example, right? We saw buyers coming back up, but a really lame follow through to the upside that couldn't really get it back above 671, right? Remember, on Friday we traded the short side on the retrace towards 671, and then it really broke down and made this 633 double bottom here in this time frame, right? This one, and then kind of closed towards 666, something like that. So we'll see what happens on Friday. But these, if you don't want to play morning moves, these intraday moves are provide good risk to reward, provide good pattern recognition, and just if you're able to read the price like that, right? So that's important. All right. Hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend and Sunday. Relax, and we'll talk on Monday. Thank you guys, and take care.